ski access, privacy, liquidity. These pockets check all three. In today's video, we're gonna cover why these neighborhoods are quietly attracting high net worth buyers, what the real costs of ownership are beyond just Zillow listings, and the trade-offs you must know before buying in Summit County. So you buy once, and you buy right. Guys, you need a professional guide who moves quietly for clients who value discretion. And I live this market, so be sure to check out my Luxury Buyers Insider Kit in the description below. More on that later, and on to the video. So the first neighborhood we're going to talk about today is Shock Hill in Breckenridge, one of my personal favorite neighborhoods. The pros about Shock Hill: we've got gondola adjacency, meaning that we've got a private gondola station that'll take you to the base of Peak 8 or to downtown Breckenridge. We've got ultimate privacy with new-ish construction, most of it being built around 2015. Walk to hiking, walk to town, and cross-country skiing. Some trade-offs though: it is premium pricing with limited inventory. There's really only 4 lots that are available to build on in Shock Hill right now. So if you want to get something, you have to move quickly. Now, when we're talking proximity, again, as I mentioned before, Shock Hill is just minutes to Main Street. When it comes to ownership costs, expect meaningful HOAs, especially in places like Shock Hill Landing and Shock Hill Overlook, which basically take care of everything for you. There is also design and architectural review board standards. Prices range from $4 to $15 million and up. Taxes usually range from about $15,000 to $30,000. And there's also some hidden fees to consider as well. When you buy in Breckenridge, there is a real estate transfer tax imposed by the town, which is going to be 1% of your gross purchase price. So that is going to go towards the town. And then obviously there's inspection costs on homes of this caliber. They're going to range from $1,000 all the way up to $3,000 and $4,000 and even beyond. And then you've got property management also, and then insurance costs are going to run you anywhere from $5,000 all the way up to $10,000 a year or more, being that these are ultra luxury homes. Next, we have Timber Trail in Breckenridge. Now, some great things about Timber Trail is that it is true luxury. You have architectural wonders in this neighborhood, and you can ski into the home or out of the home onto a chairlift, which you cannot do in Shock Hill. It also has kind of a gated feel, even though it isn't a gated community. It's kind of set off of Ski Hill Road, so you won't really see public there. You won't have skiers running into your house, which is awesome. Some trade-offs though are carrying costs and snow management. Obviously, at a home of that caliber, you're gonna want somebody there to manage the home for you. So we have some great companies that can help do that. Again, if you don't have a guide who can point you in the right direction, you could end up picking the wrong management company. So I don't want you guys to do that. Reach out to me and I'll be able to help you find the perfect management company for your home. As far as proximity in Timber Trail, you are on the Peak 8 corridor, which means you can ski 4 o'clock ski run right into town. You can walk to the ski run from your front door, or you can walk down the street to the Summit Stage bus stop and take that. Now let's talk ownership costs and hidden costs. So to buy something in Timber Trail, there's some current active inventory ranging from $9 to $21 million. Again, these are the cream of the crop when it comes to real estate here in Breckenridge. Taxes are going to range from $32,000 to about $60,000 a year. HOAs are about $400 to $500 a year, which basically cover your snow removal, which is fantastic. There are resort area assessments possible because we are part of the Breckenridge Mountain Master Association. So there's a 2% transfer tax on gross consideration. So whatever your purchase price is, tack on an extra 2%, usually paid by the buyer. It is negotiable, but in most cases, the buyer is going to pay that. Again, huge inspection costs because you have a home of such high caliber. And then property management. Again, if you pick the wrong property management company, it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars, upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars if it's ill managed. Next, we have another one of my favorite neighborhoods, the Highlands in Breckenridge. And the reason I love the Highlands is because of the expansive views and the big lots that you get over there. So like I said, estate lots, big views, golf course. Robert Trent Jr.'s designed a golf course. So if you're a big golfer, you're gonna absolutely love the Highlands in Breckenridge. And when it's not a golf course, it turns into a Nordic center in the wintertime for all of you cross-country skiers. Those of you who are moving here, you're probably in great shape. You probably like to stay active. So when you're not golfing in the summertime, you can go cross-country skiing in the winter. You also have access to Tiger Road, which if you take it as far as you can go east, it'll take you to the National Forest, which means you have access to hiking, snowmobiling, and you have Good Times Adventures down the road who offer dog sledding with over 150 well-trained huskies ready to pull a sled for you and the family. One of the coolest things that you can do to make memories with your friends and family. So I think for the amenities, Highlands is clearly unmatched, except for the fact that you have to drive to the lift. You are not just hopping on a lift like you are in Timber Trail or in Shock Hill. Again, if you don't know about that, reach out to me and I can help set that up for you. There's also rental companies that will do the same thing. So you've got the drive time to the lifts, and then you've got wind exposure as well, because it is kind of set at the bottom of the valley with expansive landscapes. The wind comes over that 10-mile range and it can get pretty windy in the Highlands. Now, as far as ownership costs and hidden fees, we're talking about $3 to $6 million for a single family home that sits on anywhere from half to about an acre or a little bit more. $4,000 to $21,000 for taxes. Property management, again, going to be steep if you pick the wrong management company. You've got a minor HOA that basically takes care of snow removal and road maintenance for you. You've got architectural design guidelines if you decide you want to build your own on one of the empty lots. And then there is a transfer tax as well, so that's going to be another 1% on top of your purchase price. Next up, we have one of the most private, exclusive feeling neighborhoods in Summit County in Keystone Ranch. So the pros, like I just mentioned, it has such a great private feel because it's kind of set back into the Keystone Ranch area, which if you're not familiar, basically you're driving along Highway 6, you take a right onto West Keystone Road, and you have to drive about another 15 minutes until you get to this community. So you get less tourist churn in this neighborhood, especially the Keystone East Ranch, which doesn't allow short-term rentals. So you don't have tourists bumping in and out of your neighborhood. It is super private. The walkability is fantastic. Constantly neighbors are walking around with their dogs or riding their bike without the nuisance of noise and tourism. You also have the golf course there. Actually, two golf courses. You've got the Ranch Golf Course and the River Course. A great community feel. A lot of longtime locals that live back there. You have great hiking trails and the Soda Creek trails, and you have access to the ranch pool and tennis courts. There's also horse rides available at the Keystone Ranch. Some cons to consider about the Keystone Ranch. Again, it is kind of set back in Keystone, so it is a bit longer of a drive to get to things like grocery shopping or Lowe's for DIY projects, or even the chair lifts. So expect a little bit of extra time for all of your daily commutes. And then obviously the STR policy varies depending on where you are. East Ranch does not allow short-term rentals. I personally think if you're spending that kind of money, you want more quiet and peace anyway. So I think that's an actual advantage. And now let's talk again about ownership costs and hidden fees. $2 to $6 million for a single family home in the Keystone Ranch. Taxes are about $6,000 to $11,000 a year. Insurance costs are going to be from $4,000 to $5,000 a year and higher. You've got a small HOA. Again, that covers the pool and the tennis courts and some common area maintenance. But the great thing about Keystone is that there's no transfer tax, meaning you're not paying 1% of the gross purchase price when you go to buy the home. Next up, we've got the Eagles Nest neighborhood in Silverthorne. Now, some pros about the Eagles Nest neighborhood is that there's plenty of space, much like the Highlands and Keystone Ranch. You've got expansive views of the Gore Range and the Williams Fork Mountain Range. You have the Raven Golf Course, which has been recently under new management by Escalante, and they've done a great job of revamping the golf course. You also have unparalleled hiking access in the Eagles Nest Wilderness. And if you know anything about wilderness, it is untouched, undisturbed, basically the Federal Bureau of Land Management's most undisturbed land. So it's great for hiking because there's no motors, being no dirt bikes, no side-by-sides or mountain bikes. It's just you and nature. You're not even allowed to camp out there. So it makes it such an incredible place to enjoy nature. Now, some cons about Eagles Nest neighborhood. Truly the biggest thing is that there is no ski resort nearby. So to go skiing, you're driving about 15 to 20 minutes to get to Keystone. 20 to 25 minutes to get to Breckenridge, about the same to get to Copper and Vail and beyond. Now, some ownership costs and hidden fees. 1.5 million all the way up to 9 million for a home in Eagles Nest. That 9 million is kind of an outlier. Really, the highest home is priced at 5. This is one very unique home that is priced at 9 million. Anyway, $3,000 to $21,000 a year in taxes, $4,000 to $8,000 a year plus for insurance costs, small HOA, and you can actually get a short-term rental license here. So that is something that you'll have to pay for, getting that short-term rental license to be able to short-term rent the house. Next up, we've got the Reserve in Frisco. Now, the great thing about the Reserve is that it is centrally located in Summit County, making it great access to everything that Summit County has to offer and beyond. So it's about equidistant to all the ski resorts. Plus, you're that much closer to Vail. So if you like to go to Vail, I love Vail as a little staycation or going for the day. So it's just a 20-minute drive from Frisco, which is ideal. You have Lake Dillon access at the Frisco Marina, and the Reserve itself was established to preserve the natural beauty of the area. So you still have these protected spaces surrounding your lots. And then you have the Summit County Recreation Path very close by. So you can take your bike all around Summit County. Now, the cons about the Reserve in Frisco: truly older inventory, fewer trophy modern builds, I guess, if you want to call it that. There are some newer builds that have been established within the last 5 to 6 years. Most of the inventory is dated. Still, they had the square footage, but maybe not that mountain modern vibe that you might be looking for. Ownership costs and hidden fees. Basically, it's going to cost you about $1.5 to $6.5 million to buy something in Frisco, in the Reserve specifically. $4,000 to $8,000 a year in taxes, $4,000 plus in insurance, small HOA. Again, that is the Reserve that protects the natural beauty of the area, keeps developers from overdeveloping. And much like Keystone, there is no transfer tax in Frisco, so some more cost savings there. Next up, we have Lewis Ranch in Copper Mountain. This is a really cool neighborhood that is gated, and it is a true ski in, ski out neighborhood. So you get ultimate privacy, and the home that's currently for sale right now in Lewis Ranch can generate $250,000 a year in short-term rental revenue. So talk about offsetting your carrying costs. The con is that it is the only home available for sale in Lewis Ranch. There's just not a lot of inventory there. So if you are a Copper fanatic, you really want to eye this neighborhood when something comes available for sale, because it just doesn't happen very often. And then obviously we've got our transfer tax in Copper is going to be 1.5%. Speaking of transfer tax, let's talk about the ownership costs and hidden fees. Much like the other neighborhoods, $24,000 a year for this one home on taxes, a little over $8,000 for insurance, HOA, again, that 1.5% transfer tax, and then you can get a short-term rental license, like I mentioned before, so that is going to be huge to be able to offset those costs. Last but not least, we have Angler Mountain in Silverthorne, which is another one of my personal favorites, and the reason are the views at Angler Mountain are insane. The Gore Range is one of the prettiest mountain ranges in Colorado, in my personal humble opinion, and these homes are all perched up on the east side of the Blue River Valley, and so they open up to these incredible views of Buffalo Mountain, Red Mountain, and Mount Silverthorne and beyond. I'm telling you, man, these views are just absolutely insane. If you really want views, Angler Mountain is going to be your #1 choice for sure. They're newer builds. Also, we've got trail and lake lifestyle, private lakes that are stocked with trout. So if you're a big trout fisherman, you can do that. You have the Angler Mountain trailhead, so you can hike up Angler Mountain. No STRs, which again, I think if you're spending this kind of money, that is a huge plus. 4 days minimum for any kind of rentals, so you don't have partiers coming into your nice neighborhood. Let's talk about some cons though. There is no ski resort in Angler Mountain, so you're not skiing in, skiing out. You're gonna have to drive to skiing. You're gonna have to drive to daily shopping like City Market or Lowe's for projects. And then obviously being perched up on the side of the mountain, you get some crazy wind exposure. And so that is just something that you should be aware of. Ownership costs and hidden fees. Homes typically range from $2.25 for the Angler Mountain duplexes, townhomes, and single family homes, all the way up to $6 million for the custom homes up on Airy Drive. Taxes are about $6,500 to $20,000 a year, about $4,000 plus for insurance, transfer tax, and then you have a small HOA fee as well. Now, huge caveat with all of these homes, this is a one-time fee, but on average, you can expect to spend about 7 to 8% for closing costs. That's realtor fees, title fees, recording fees, all of that jazz. I usually budget about 7 to 8%, maybe a little bit more for capital expenditure, just in case the inspection comes back and things need to be fixed. So 7 to 8%, very conservative for what you can expect to pay for closing costs throughout these neighborhoods. Now, let's talk about why you should or should not buy in Summit County. I would personally be buying in Summit County if you like convenience. We have 5 resorts within a 30-minute drive, plus we have Vail and Beaver Creek about 45 minutes away, so 7 world-class ski resorts super close by. So you have a wide variety when it comes to skiing. Denver International Airport is a 1.5 to 2 hour drive depending on the traffic, so it's great to be able to fly in and out of there to go where you have to go. And then the other thing that a lot of people don't talk about is that we have a deep buyer pool here in Summit County because we're so close to Denver. In fact, half of our buyer pool last year came from Denver. So because we're so close, all of these Denver folk, they want to buy their vacation homes up here. And what that means for you is that you have liquidity pretty much year round. If you want to sell your home, there is going to be a buyer for that home because the demand is so high and the scarcity and the inventory is so low. We don't have a lot of buildable land. So you buy something here, if you hold on to it for like 5 to 10 years, there's a really good chance it's going to appreciate. Now, here's why you should not buy in Summit County. The I-70 traffic, gonna be pretty honest with you, it's kind of crappy if you don't know when to travel. Obviously, if you live here, if you talk with me, I can guide you and show you the times where it's better to travel I-70, but God forbid you have to go to Denver on a Saturday or Sunday, or you're coming up from Denver to the mountains, good luck, because I-70 can be treacherous. The other thing is that we have stricter STR policies since our short-term rental ordinances were imposed back in 2021. So, and not in every case are you going to be able to short-term rent. But again, if you're spending this kind of money, that might not be a big deal for you. Here in Summit County, we'll also have a lot of mixed architecture because a lot of our inventory was built in the 70s. So if you're looking just outside of these pockets of these really nice neighborhoods that I just mentioned, you're going to get some really mixed buildings and really shoddy work in a lot of cases. And again, a lot of the stuff being built so long ago either needs to be completely remodeled, torn down to the studs, or just completely scraped and rebuild a new home. So I would stick with these luxury neighborhoods before I go stretching out towards other ones. And then obviously, you know, being that we have the mixed architecture, it's not that curated luxury design you're gonna find in places like Aspen, Beaver Creek, Vail, but you're gonna spend a lot less money than you are in those markets. So you're going to have some great appreciation going forward. And then the other big thing, obviously being very close to Denver, peak season density here. What I mean is the tourist traffic coming into town, Christmas time, all the major holidays, it can feel like a city here. So I'd say if you're going to buy this as a second home, you're going to spend extended periods of time here, try to work around those holidays and try to be here during the week and instead of the weekends. Try not to be here on the holidays and you'll really get the best enjoyment possible out of living here. So there you guys have it. Those are the 7 off the radar neighborhoods that you need to consider before you're looking at places like Aspen and Vail, because Breckenridge has a long way to go in terms of appreciation. I still think it's one of the best value plays in the entirety of the Colorado mountains. If you're a luxury buyer looking to buy something, you have to find my Luxury Buyers Insider Kit down below in the description. And the beauty of that is that we have some very specially curated tools for you guys to understand what it's like to actually buy here, including my off-market and private listing inventory that is updated monthly. The beauty about being with Sotheby's International Realty is that we have some distinctive sellers who don't want their home to go to the public market, and I curate a lot of these off-market opportunities. So if there's something that you think that you want, but you've seen everything that's been on the market, it's gonna pay to have a really seasoned guide like myself to help you find that exclusive inventory. Guys, my name is Anthony Soul with Live Sotheby's International Realty here in the beautiful mountains of Colorado. Feel free to call me, text me, email me, and I will get with you and we will help you find that legacy home.